I am thankful to those who said no to me, who did not help me, because of which I did all my work myself. This was said by a great scientist. That great scientist was none other than Albert Einstein. In this video, you will watch and know some interesting facts about the great physicist Albert Einstein and information about his life journey. Albert Einstein was a very great and well-known scientist who used to play with his mind. So let's start this video without any delay. About the great physicist Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was a very great and genius person of his era. Great physicist Albert Einstein was a very talented person. His talent was limitless. Albert Einstein was such a great scientist that he has contributed so much inside math and science which hardly any scientist would have contributed that much. Some people all over the world also say that we can divide this world into two parts. One part will be the world before the time of Albert Einstein and the other part will be the world after the time of Albert Einstein. It is also fair to praise people so much about the Albert Einstein because Albert Einstein is the only person who changed the science and math of the whole world. If we go to see the direct reason for this, then it will be that the Albert Einstein had given a formula. This formula of Albert Einstein was only of 3 words, but this formula of the Albert Einstein was so famous that he has achieved many places in technology and science all over the world. Now we will learn about that world-changing formula of the Einstein. Albert Einstein's famous equation. You may also know this formula of Albert Einstein. This formula was none other than E equals mc². According to Albert Einstein, the E given in this formula E equals mc², represents the energy of matter. Next, m in this formula denotes the mass or weight of the substance. After all, what is C in E equals mc²? Then C in this formula represents the speed of light, which is an immovable value. If we talk about immovable value, then the immovable value of C is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Its exact value is 299792458 meters per second. Means the value of C2 is 89875517873681764 joule per kilogram, approx 9 into 10 to the power of 16 joule per kilogram. Due to this formula of Albert Einstein, the definition of science was changed all over the world. And because of this formula, the thinking mindset of all the scientists had also changed. This formula is so useful that because of this formula, we remember Albert Einstein in today's era. By remembering this formula, we can say that Albert Einstein had made a great contribution in the field of today's science. At the time when science was to emerge in the world, Albert Einstein invented the formula called E equals mc². Great physicist Albert Einstein received the Nobel Prize in the year 1921, only after discovering Albert Einstein's E equals mc² formula. Because of this, all of you can know that how much importance of the formula is. Albert Einstein was the only scientist to have published more than 300 scientific research papers. In 1999, Time magazine released the memoirs of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century from all over the world. According to this list, Albert Einstein was declared Person of the Century by Time magazine. This is a very honorable and special thing for them. If we discuss about the birth and life of German scientist Albert Einstein, then he was full of difficulties. The real struggle of Albert Einstein's life. Albert Einstein was born in Germany. Despite Albert being born in Germany, Albert Einstein was under threat from the German people. Albert Einstein was in great danger from German dictator Adolf Hitler. That is why Albert Einstein came out of Germany and came to America. After this, great physicist Albert Einstein made a name for himself by making a lot of progress in America and carried on with his life. But it was not so easy for Albert Einstein to pursue his life in America. There was only one reason for this, that the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, was behind for 20 years to catch Albert Einstein. Let us also tell you that after the death of Albert Einstein, research on his brain was going on for a long time. We know that you will be surprised to know all this, but all these things can be true. But maybe some of this could be a rumor. So today in this video you will know what is the truth about all these incidents of Albert Einstein, and how Albert Einstein came out fighting all these difficulties and prepared his life for a purpose to achieve great milestones in life. To understand all these events in a better way, let's talk about 150 years ago. Birth of Albert Einstein. About 150 years ago, when there was no electricity in the cities of Germany, and where darkness reigned after sunset, then those cities became very dangerous. At that time a great scientist came, and that scientist invented the direct current. You all know that great scientist very well. The great scientist who invented the direct current was none other than Thomas Alva Edison, who created the biggest company of that decade. Due to the discovery of direct current by Thomas Alva Edison, some cities in Germany were illuminated. Now we will talk about when and where the great scientist Albert Einstein was born. Albert Einstein was born in a city named Ulm in Germany. It used to be a smaller town than any of the German cities. Hermann Einstein and Pauline Einstein were the father and mother of Albert Einstein, who used to live in Ulm, Germany. Hermann Einstein was a salesman and engineer. Hermann Einstein used to supply electrical equipment to the people. March 14, 1879 was a very happy day for Hermann Einstein and Pauline Einstein, because on this day a son took born at their house. They named that child Albert. This means that on March 14, 1879, in Ulm, Germany, the great scientist of the time, Albert Einstein, was born. At the time of birth, Albert's head was too large compared to his body and was not in proper shape. Because of this, his parents were worried that Albert should not have any problem. When Helen Einstein, the mother of Hermann Einstein or the grandmother of Albert Einstein, paid attention to Albert's head, he also felt that Albert Einstein's head is much bigger than his body. But after a few days, Albert Einstein's head slowly started coming in the right shape. Albert Einstein's speech problem. Hermann and Pauline loved their son Albert Einstein very much. As Albert grew older, parents of Albert started to worry. Hermann and Pauline were concerned that despite the passage of time, Albert did not speak anything. But even after this, Hermann and Pauline hoped that one day Albert would definitely speak. But with this hope, there was also a fear in the minds of Hermann Einstein and Pauline Einstein that their son Albert Einstein would not be mentally disabled. It is a matter of 1880. Now Albert Einstein, the child of Hermann and Pauline, is 1 year old, and at this time Albert Einstein started speaking a little bit. Some people also said that Albert Einstein started speaking at the age of 4. And when Albert Einstein started to speak properly, the first sentence that Albert Einstein spoke was, "The soup is too hot." At that time Hermann and Pauline asked Albert why you were not speaking till now. Then Albert said that everything was going well, that's why he didn't spoke. This was a big problem with Albert Einstein, that he could not grasp the language. And Albert Einstein has faced this problem for 9 years. Albert Einstein used to say that until he could not speak the sentence, he kept repeating the same sentence in his mind until he can grasp it. Albert's life in the city of Munich. During the year 1880, Hermann and Pauline started living in Munich, 160 kilometers from Ulm city. In the city of Munich, Albert's father Hermann Einstein and Albert's uncle Jacob Einstein started a company together. This company used to manufacture equipment for direct current, from the invention of Thomas Alva Edison. When Albert Einstein was 2 years old, his sister was born at that time. Hermann and Pauline named that girl Maja Einstein. Albert Einstein was very happy to have his younger sister in his life. Albert Einstein wasn't able to make friends quickly, so Albert Einstein lived alone for most of the time. Albert Einstein was very quiet and shy guy. Albert did not like to play much. Albert Einstein loved peace and wanted freedom in his life. So far you have known a lot about Albert Einstein. Let us tell you that the intelligence and talent of German physicist Albert Einstein was so great that his biography was impossible to match in one video. Therefore, now we will show the rest of the biography of Albert Einstein in the second part and discuss about Einstein and his discoveries.